Greetings, sports fans, and welcome to Matters of Inclusion. I'm Shamie Kramer, co-host and co-founder of Diversity in Sport Day.
And I'm Tracy Rivas, co-host and also co-founder of Diversity in Sport Day. And in honor of Black History Month, today's podcast features swimming and diving coach Nicholas Askew from Howard University, the only HBCU to currently have an aquatics program.
Diversity in Sport Day is an annual event held every August 28th, whose motto is Celebrate, Motivate, Advocate. We celebrate the trailblazers, triumphs, and milestones in sport as a way to motivate others to set new standards of inclusion and advocate for universal equity in sport and society at large. Diversity in Sport Day was launched in 2022 to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the opening day for Gay Games 1 on August 28th, 1982 in San Francisco.
And later this year, August 28th, will be the opening day of the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. So with a nod to the past and a focus on the future, Diversity in Sport Day is a day to celebrate all athletes and athletics, be it events such as the Invictus Games, Senior Games, Paralympics, Special Olympics, or the Gay Games, as well as athletes breaking barriers at all levels of competition, be it local grassroots athletes and activities or elite athletes participating at the highest levels of international and professional competition. Diversity in Sport Day is a day for everyone. And speaking of which, Shamie, you competed at Gay Games 11 in Guadalajara, Mexico this past November. How was that experience?
I tell you, Tracy, although I founded Team Los Angeles for the inaugural Gay Games back in 1982, and I competed in water polo before retiring at Gay Games 8 in 2010, never in my wildest dreams did I expect to be back in the pool. But there I was, and it was my first ever swim meet in my entire life at the age of 63. But I did it, and to have that milestone occur at a Gay Games really was special for me. And I was fortunate enough to earn a bronze medal as a member of our men's 4x50 relay for our age group, where I swam my fastest 50 free ever. So yeah, it was a win-win-win all over.
A bronze medal and a personal best. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So are you going to continue training and competing?
Well, this November, the International Gay and Lesbian Aquatic Championships, they're hosted by Dogos Natación Swim Club down in Buenos Aires, Argentina. It'll be the first time the IGLA Championships are in South America. And next year, the World Pride Games will be taking place in your city of Washington, D.C. And then Gay Games 12 will take place in Valencia, Spain in the summer of 2026. So during the Guadalajara event, I discovered that I really like swimming those middle and longer distances. So I definitely have at least another 2+ years of competition ahead.
How exciting. And congratulations again.
Yeah, thanks. But before we get to any of those events, you and I will be in Paris this summer for the Olympic and Paralympic Games.
That's right. That's right. And we are already in discussion with several other organizations to host an event on August 28th for Diversity in Sport Day. So stay tuned, sports fans. Welcome back, everyone. We are pleased to have with us as our featured guest today on Matters of Inclusion, Coach Nicholas Askew from the Howard University Swimming and Diving Team. Hello, Coach.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Before we begin, we want to give our listeners a little bit of background on your career. By the time you were 7 years old, you were already competing in swimming and tennis. Following an impressive high school career, you were chosen Athlete of the Year for your school. In 1996, after receiving several scholarship offers for swimming and tennis from several universities, Askew chose Howard University. During his time as a dual sport student athlete, Nicholas Askew broke several swimming records, served as team captain, and became a 6-time conference champion. He also acquired the Most Valuable Player award 4 times 3 times for swimming, and once for tennis, and has the distinction of being the only student athlete to have earned an MVP award in 2 sports in the same year. In 2001, he became an assistant coach at his alma mater, helping to recruit top talent. And now the Bisons are off to defend their first ever NCAA Northeast Conference Championship title. So, Coach Askew, you are the only Howard University athlete to receive MVP honors in the same year in 2 sports, swimming and tennis. What did it mean to you at the time, and has that had an impact on your career as a coach?
At the time, I don't know if I can remember back that far. That was quite a while ago. It for me, it was just the business at hand. Being a dual sport athlete is something I committed to doing, and I wanted to be great at the things that I was doing. And I was very fortunate to have an opportunity to participate in 2 sports at the collegiate level, which is pretty rare. But because my sports and their seasons didn't share the same year or time of competition within the year, it was doable. And I had 2 great coaches who understood the value of me being able to participate and being able to contribute to the programs. At the awards banquet, I think back, I remember being in shock, and I knew that I was within the conversation for both programs. But never did I think that I would actually be selected, in for both teams in the same year. And it was a really proud moment because it was the validation that the hard work and the dedication and the commitment to helping the team get better and to be the best that they possibly could be was was evident in being awarded in that space. And during that time, for a lot of the awards were with the information from the team members. So from my peers. So to know that it wasn't just a designation from the coaches, which, definitely has value, no question, but to know that it was something that my peers, my teammates had input within, really felt great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So speaking about, you mentioned the highlight from the awards banquet. What are 1 or 2 of the highlights from your competition career that you'll always treasure?
There's quite a few. Another time where things kind of happened and bundled in twos were my junior year. I had worked out that summer really hard and really committed to getting better. I knew that I wanted to do more at conference championships for swim, and I wanted to be able to add more points to the total for our team. And dedicating that summer to the work to make sure that I came back better in the fall and keeping that momentum. That year, we actually were in 2 conference championships in our swim program. The first conference championship was the Southern States Conference Championships, and it was held in North Carolina at Davidson College. And I remember being able to win in one of my events, the gold medal. I was a 100-yard breaststroke winner. I won it from one of the outside lanes in the swimming world. And I think in the track world too, we call that outside smoke. So that was huge. I was one of the few gold medals, first place finishes that our team got. But the very next week, we competed in our second conference championships, which was the Northeast Conference Championships, hosted here at UMBC. And I also won that. So I was able to win the Southern States Conference Championships and the Northeast Conference Championships, all in the same year. And I remember, my brother brought it to my attention. He was like, "You're the Southern States and Northeast. Man, you got the whole East Coast on lock." And just being really excited about that. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right, actually." And that from a competitive sport standpoint was really exciting. I definitely cherish that memory. And I also cherish the memory. We competed against Georgetown during our dual meet season with swim. And I remember earlier in the year, we had done a workout there or something. And I looked at the record board and I was like, man, I could break their pool record. And, Georgetown is such amazing school with an incredible tradition and legacy. I really targeted that as an opportunity, and we had the chance to swim them at their site, and I did break their pool record. So my name was actually on the Georgetown pool wall for a little bit. So that was super exciting. And then tennis, I remember there was a breakthrough moment in my tennis career where our team, we were functioning as individuals, and for both sports, it's really tough to conceptualize. Now you have to be more team oriented, and that it's bigger than just yourself. And I remember we were playing against University of Delaware, and the match started outdoors, and then it started to rain, and then the team got together, and we were like, we can win this if we just come together. And I remember speaking up and being like, listen, I'm winning my match. And anybody who's beside me, we're going to win our match too, because I'm going to help, cheer you on and support you. And that was a big turning point for us as a program. And that's another, kind of memory that I definitely hold on to.
Great. Very nice. Very nice.
So, as a breaststroker, did you prefer short course or long course?
I'm in. Give me short course any day. Uh, I was really, really good off the wall. Throughout my entire career, I really maximized what we call pullouts. So that's that big pull and that big kick underwater before you get on top of the water. And of course, in long course meters, you do have one wall or you have less walls, depending on the lengths. And then the rest of it, you got to stroke. You got to keep coming up. And not that I was bad at that, but I knew that was one of my strong points. I could usually get a little bit of an edge or even more from being able to have the walls to my advantage.
Yeah, because you're a sprinter.
Yes. I like sprinting. I like sprinting more. I definitely adapted as I continued into more mid distance, because obviously, as a breaststroker, I had to swim 100 and 200 breaststroke. And that wasn't something in the high school or even age group that I swam a lot of or even wanted to swim a lot of. But in the college, in terms of points, that's, you have to swim both. And as a mid major, we don't have such a big team that we could specialize. If you're into your strokes, you've got to be pretty much across the board 100 and 200 of backstroke, butterfly, and breaststroke.
All right. So I'm going to read you a statistic and ask you to react. Okay. According to 2021 USA Swimming estimates, of its approximately 295,000 competitive swimmers, only 1.5% are Black. Now, you've been at Howard for nearly 30 years, first as an athlete and now as a coach. In that time, how have things changed for diversity in aquatics, and what are some of those changes?
Yeah, that's a statistic that, speaks to my heart. I've often said that to be the national governing body, to represent the United States as a sport, it doesn't represent the diversity of the United States. And there are many factors that contribute to it. And there are a lot of things that we have to do, and we have to be proactive. We have to we have to put a lot of effort and time and thought into how do we break some of these systematic barriers. And I know USA Swimming over the last decade has been doing a lot more, and I'm really proud of the efforts that they've been put forth. One of which is the HBCU grant. It's $1 million per year that they have as grant money towards HBCUs to have aquatic programs. Maybe not so much to bring back the competitive programs, but to offer learn to swim, water safety activities, community events, etc.
An introduction, at least, right?
Exactly. So really, really excited about that, and looking forward to many other things that continue to, to come from that type of initiative, to be inspired by that type of initiative. Because again, that statistic is 1.5. That's really low. And the sad thing is again, that's another representation of a number that's also within the collegiate ranks. Howard University makes up almost a third of the people of color in all of NCAA swimming and diving. Right. So for our program, to represent that large of a percentage, we just know again that there's a problem. There's a big problem, and there are solutions that are out there, and we all, need to work together towards, making it more diverse, making it more accessible.
So we are back with Coach Nicholas Askew from Howard University swim and dive team. So, Coach, when did you first fall in love with swimming as an athlete? And did you ever get to compete against anyone who was your inspiration?
Oh, wow. When did I first fall in love with? So, my introduction into swim was a little rough. Um, I did grow up around a community pool. We were very fortunate that, but I had two older brothers, and they were, essentially my caretakers in the summer. They worked as lifeguards at the community pool, and they just got tired of me walking around the pool deck all day long. And they tossed me into the deep end. My big brother Mark, middle child, threw me into the pool and was like, "Look, you're gonna have to figure this out." And I did. So that was my introduction. I can't say I fell in love with that introduction. That was a little rough, but I would honestly say my love came at the time I started to being able to compete. I'm a very competitive person by nature. I think that's again just the result of growing up in a household with two older brothers. We competed against each other and everything, who would finish their breakfast first, and maybe that was a way of them getting me to hurry up. But it just became the norm. So when I started competing at around 7 to 8 years old in North Carolina, and feeling that adrenaline of before the race, and feeling that rush of just energy during the race, and then checking to see my results and getting patted on the back and receiving, the little ribbon, for my relay, or not, sorry, not my relay, but for my heat. That was really, really cool. And I think that's the moment where I started really falling in love with it. Um, I think after that, I got a little rocky because as you continue to swim and as you continue to get older, you have less of the opportunities to get a heat winner, ribbon. And you also have less people applauding you because you're dropping time is not the norm as you continue to get older and more elite. Like right now at the college level, we're really fighting for fractions of a second, and to get better. So I think I got reinvigorated when I came to Howard, and being around like-minded people who, a lot of their experiences were shared experiences as I had, and seeing an image that I'd never seen before. Being around other swimmers of color who all were really good,
Yes.
and now being a part of a team that we could do really great things, in the competitive world. Who would I like to compete against? Um, if I could choose anybody, you know, the obvious answer is going to be somebody like Michael Phelps, but I don't want to compete against Michael Phelps. That dude is just way, way too good. Again, I'm competitive, so I got to figure out my wager here. I got to have somebody I can beat. No, I think being able to compete against somebody like Michael Phelps, as much as I love to win and really don't like losing anything, at the end of the day, as a competitor, you want to compete against the very best. And Michael's the GOAT.
Yeah.
What he was able to accomplish during his career is, not to be rivaled for a long time. I think on the other side, would love to, have the opportunities to grow up swimming against someone like Cullen Jones, a different gender, but Maritza McClendon, Simone Manuel. Those are pretty awesome times to be a part of that group, and moving forward and training and competing alongside with them, and representing the USA as they did. That would be pretty amazing.
That must have been some great inspiration for you, though, during your competition days, seeing those women.
Yeah, it was, but at the same time, it was also difficult because swimming as a sport is not likely to get TV time unless it's the Olympics. So every 4 years, yes, seeing those names and kind of going through the pool deck to see if there's any person of color, that you're like, oh my gosh, great. We've got representation in this, and as a global competition, is pretty amazing and pretty inspiring. But it's not until the last couple of years where we're actually seeing swim being more on mainstream TV and obviously more accessible through the internet and being able to live stream, a lot more events.
Yes.
Now, switching gears, talking about you as a coach now, you mentioned that about a third of the swimmers currently in NCAA that are Black or people of color are at Howard.
Mm-hmm.
One of your responsibilities is to recruit the top talent. So, what are the challenges recruiting that talent when you're up against, universities and programs that are very well known and very well funded?
Yeah, we're competing against the rest of the world in terms of recruiting. The athletes that we're looking at are the same athletes that, University of Virginia, Tennessee, Alabama, Stanford, Cal Berkeley are all looking at. And, it's very difficult to compete against, storied legacy programs like those who, have won NCAA championships, who have several Olympians in their catalog. But the thing that we talk about often to our recruits is this environment is different than anywhere else. As an HBCU and what we do as a coaching staff, as a swim and dive family, you're not going to get that feel. You're not going to get that sense anywhere else. And if that's something that speaks to you, then that's definitely what we use as a recruiting edge. And it's, it doesn't have to be for everyone. We feel very adamantly that, this has to be the space that you want to be in, no matter who you are. You don't have to be Black or Latino. You can be anyone who wants to have an HBCU education, anyone that wants to be a part of the swim and dive family that we've been able to cultivate in this space, is absolutely welcome. And when we have individuals that are part of our program that are like that, we see our program move forward. We're grateful that we don't have to recruit based on, uh, the other things that programs recruit on, and really do the shiny stuff, which big facilities and or big recruit or big budgets and things like that. We're very modest in what we have. We have a lot, but we can't compare to a lot of the bigger schools and what they have currently in place. But we also know that no other school can compare to what we have. So it's difficult for sure, because at the age and stage that these young athletes are, they do look at the shiny. But what I talk to them about is what happens when things get tough. Is that building, or is that facility? Is that what's going to keep you motivated, keep you going? Or is it going to be someone who you feel attached to as in your coaching staff, or as in your swim family, your teammates? Because that's really what's going to get you through those tough times, because tough times will hit. I don't care where you are. You have to feel good about the environment that you chose to be able to persevere through those tough times.
Okay. And along those lines that we're asking about, how are you may use some of the same advice. How are you motivating the athletes to prepare them to defend their conference championship title?
It's been really a different year for us. For so long, we've been hunting for the championship, and for so long, we've focused on who do we have to beat in order to earn the title. And this year, it's shifted, and we're in a new uncharted territory for us, that we're the defending champion. And that's been the conversation. I just brought that up just recently. Like, listen, we are the defending champions. That means everybody is coming for us. But we are ready. Our bodies are ready. Now we just need to focus on our mindset, make sure mentally we're going through our progressions in terms of our visualization, working on the small things that we know are the details that are necessary to help us keep our technique through our races. And that, we have just as good of a chance as any other team to win the conference championship. And that's what we're not going to get too high. We're not going to get too low about anything. We're going to stay as neutral as we possibly can, and just take care of the business at hand.
Awesome.
Great.
Now, you guys have a tradition that you do at the end of every one of your swim meets that involves a DJ. Could you tell us a little bit about that? How did that start? And how does that improve morale, not just for the team, but for the rest of the student body?
Yeah, yeah. So when we first came on board as a coaching staff, I'm in my 10th season now, and most of my coaching staff is as well into their sixth or more season with us. Probably around year three, we just came up with the idea. Let's have an on deck DJ. We had a speaker before that was playing music. That was cool, but there was something about having a DJ that really, kind of intrigued us. And that meet, we all say, was one of the best meets we had ever had. And we committed to making sure that we had an on deck DJ for every meet following that. Because what happens, the reality of the matter is swim meets are pretty long. And for the people that are coming to support us, most of them probably can't swim themselves, let alone know the difference between the doggy paddle and the butterfly. So we needed to make sure that there were three things that we needed as a part of to help make it an event, keep the people in the stands to support us. And one of them was music, because everybody loves music, and when you're in the stands, and even if you don't understand something or there's a break, I mean, you look at football and basketball games or other major sporting events or even cultural events, even during intermission, there's a little bit of music being played in the background to keep you occupied. And a DJ can read that vibe and read that vibe. A good DJ can read the vibe and see if, oh, the energy's pretty low. Let me throw on this track. And I know that's going to get everybody going, whether it's Frankie Beverly and Mace or whether it's Kodak Black, they're going to be able to read the environment and be able to say, okay, let me put this on and get the energy up. And what we found is when the energy was higher in the stands, our team felt that energy and wanted to perform better. And then when our team performed better, the energy in the stands went up another level. So it was a beautiful relationship, exactly, that we noticed and has become the tradition for our program. My administrators, I remember one time they were like, yeah, we don't have a DJ for you. And I was like, what do you mean? we're gonna have to find a DJ, because that's become the norm for our program, not just for our swimmers and divers, but for the people who come out and support us. And at the end of every meet, I guess it was about 2 years ago, we started the tradition of doing the swag surf at the end of every meet, just kind of put a nice little bow or nice little cap on the event, to celebrate our accomplishments, and not dwell too much on the things that we need to improve on. And now it's evolved to the point at our home meets, we invite the other team to connect with us and
Wow.
do the swag surf. And then we encourage the people in the stands to actually join in it, as well as, again, just creating that bond, against the people who we just competed against, as well as the people who are in the stands. And it's been really cool to see people stay in the stands and be like, yeah, we're not leaving until they swag surf. And that continued to keep our environment different than any other swim and dive environment in the entire country. You look at Battle at the Burr, which is probably the most talked about swim and dive event in the country, and how so many other programs are taking pieces of that to adopt for their, swim meets, and how it's been so well received. We sold out in less than a week for a swim meet on the campus of an HBCU. Clearly, there's something, there's some special sauce that's within that, and the DJ and the swag surf and all the environment that we create is a part of that.
So this is all very fascinating, Coach, and we could talk to you for hours, clearly. But as we wrap up in our third and final segment of Matters of Inclusion, we want you to talk about the legacy of the Howard University Aquatics Program and your vision for the future of aquatics at HBCUs.
Absolutely. Water spaces has always been a part of communities, and it was absolutely a part of the Black community. And now, as we got into higher education and the opportunity to train and compete at HBCUs, which had competitive programs dating all the way into the 30s and 40s, it's always had a rich tradition. I have the distinct honor and pleasure just this past week of communicating with Andrew Young, Ambassador Andrew Young's staff, and congratulating him on winning a Lifetime Achievement Award from the College Swim Coaches Association of America, for which I am able to present him with the award at the annual conference. Andrew Young is a former competitive swimmer, a Howard graduate, and also swam on Howard University swim team. And it's with, the most pride and respect that he and individuals like him and Togo West, who have led an amazing legacy at Howard Swim, but of course, other individuals at other HBCUs. So what we want to be able to do as the lone HBCU that has a swimming and diving program, we want to be a representation and an inspiration across the board. We want to pay tribute to the legacy of those that came before us, and we honor them by working hard and trying to achieve, so that they know that the things that they went through, because I can't imagine, being during a time where we couldn't, as people of color, could not compete against other schools, or even eat in the same cafeterias. Those types of things that, Ambassador Young and his teammates had to go through, so we know that the struggles that we have now are far different, than what they had before. And by God, definitely don't want to have to feel like that. So we try to do what we can to honor that legacy and honor those sacrifices, for what they stood for. I definitely think that HBCUs have a enormous opportunity in this current date to bring back their programs or even start programs. I understand the costs and everything associated with, with the program. Having run this program for the 10 seasons that I have, trust me, I know all about the dollars and cents and, some of the woes, but there's so many HBCUs that have great facilities that are operating under capacity, that are great targets to bring back a swim and dive program, a lot because they are also state institutions, which means they can offer in-state tuition, not offer any scholarship money for their athletes, and still be a great cost value for an experience at a higher education institution. So I'm encouraged that in time, the other HBCUs will see what Howard is doing, and it will stimulate conversation amongst the alumni, amongst the administration, amongst up and coming swimmers. I tell people all the time, we run a camp here at Howard University. It's my camp, the Nick Askew Swim and Dive Camp. And every single year it sells out. And we have a wait list of hundreds of people who want to be a part of the program because they're aspiring to swim in college. So there is absolutely numbers there that could be a part of that desire an HBCU education that, could be a great choice for those schools. So I'm encouraged, and I'm going to continue to speak as loud as I possibly can and encourage those to use their voice with those administrations who are making decisions, but also understanding that it is difficult. So at the same time, my playbook is open. How we've been able to create the things that we have done here, I'm happy to share with any administration in the hopes that they bring their programs back.
Before we sign off, Coach, is there anything that you'd like to add?
I just got to give big ups and shout outs to my team and our coaching staff. We have some amazing young men and women, and they truly want to be at their very best. And we have the Northeast Conference Championship coming up next week. So we're really, really excited about that. And our team has worked extraordinarily hard to get to this point. So I just want to give them, a big shout out, and our administration who has continually supported us. Super thankful for the administration that brought me in as the first head coach, the swim and dive program. That was a huge step because there had never been a full-time coach before, and continued to support us all along the way, through the administration here at Howard and the department here. They may have not said no. They've never given me a no. They've given me not right now, maybe down the road. And we've definitely shown that we have earned the trust of of the department and the university continue to build. And we're grateful to be, where we are.
This has been absolutely wonderful. And I wish we did have more time, Coach.
No,
But
it's all good.
thank you so much. And I am just a huge Bisons fan ever since I came across your story of your program about 4 or 5 years ago.
I appreciate
So,
that. Thank you.
so whatever we can do to get the word out there about the great work you and Howard University is doing, we are on your team.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yes, please continue to spread the word. We've got a lot of great things that we're doing. We're heavy into the community, running clinics, doing school visits, obviously competing as a team. So we appreciate all that support, and thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. We appreciate your time. Thank you, Coach.
Following our interview with Coach Nick, the Howard University swimming and diving team competed at the 2024 Northeast Conference Championships, with both the men's and women's teams securing a spot on the podium as runners-up. This was the first time the Bisons women have been on the podium, which is a testament to the continued growth and strength of the Howard Aquatics program under Coach Nick's leadership these past 10 years. We also want to give a shout out to Howard athletes Zuzu Nwazi as co-outstanding female swimmer and Jordan Walker, who was named Men's Outstanding Diver for the second year in a row. Well done, Bisons. You truly exemplify what Diversity in Sport Day is all about, and what a way to close out Black History Month.
Looking ahead in the coming months, March is Women's History Month, commemorating and celebrating the important role of women in history. And what better way to celebrate than to give a shout out to Caitlin Clark of the Iowa Hawkeyes women's basketball team. Not only did she become the NCAA women's all-time scoring leader, but Caitlin scored a career high of 49 points, which marked a new school record. March is also Development Disabilities Awareness Month, which was first commemorated in 1987 by a presidential proclamation.
April is National Arab American Heritage Month. It formally recognizes the achievements of Arab Americans, such as retired NFL quarterback Doug Flutie. It is also Autism Awareness Month, which promotes a world in which all people on the spectrum can reach their full potential. For more information on that, please visit their website at autismspeaks.org.
And as we mentioned at the top of the show, the big destination this summer will be the Paris Summer Olympic and Paralympic Games.
I'm excited because you and I were able to secure tickets to the men's water polo finals on Sunday, August 11th. That's the same day as the women's marathon, as well as the Olympic closing ceremony.
It's shaping up to be a very busy year indeed. Now it's time for us to wrap up this episode of Matters of Inclusion. We'd like to once again thank our guest, Howard University swimming and diving coach Nick Askew.
And give a special shout out to Billy the Kid Dapier for providing our show's music.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Diversity in Sport Day.
Thanks again for tuning in to Matters of Inclusion. And until next time, this is Shamie Kramer
and Tracy Rivas signing off.